Thanks for joining us for News 8 now at 6. I'm Ken Kozarowski. Amy is off tonight. The midterm election is just weeks away, and according to a new study, Wisconsin is one of the hardest states to cast a vote in. News 8 Now's Dua Israr spoke to local political experts who explain why Wisconsin has seen an increase in voting regulations. Good evening, Dua.
Ken, in 2020, out of 50 states, Wisconsin was the 38th easiest state to cast your ballot. In the 2022 edition of Cost of Voting in America, Wisconsin fell to 47th. In July, the state Supreme Court issued a ruling outlawing absentee drop boxes. Changes such as that one have made Wisconsin the fourth hardest state to vote in. Political expert Joe Heim says despite the state's recent changes to voting laws, Wisconsinites are still going to the polls in record numbers. When it comes time to vote in November,
how inconvenient it is to register and to vote.
Some Wisconsinites may find it hard to cast their ballot.
I think for students who I'm encouraging to vote, they encounter some challenges.
Political expert Joe Heim says statewide there have been regulations and restrictions on registration, voter IDs, absentee ballots, and drop boxes.
So Wisconsin has had its share of restrictions.
For voter Carla Zell, changes to the state voting laws hasn't impacted her.
To me, it's about the same. I typically vote in person. I go to the poll.
But voter Keith Knutson says not everyone can say the same.
What about our homeless population? They don't have an address. Are they going to be able to vote? And do we think they should not be able to vote simply because they're homeless? So I think we've got a lot of issues here in the United States.
Although claims of widespread voter fraud were disproven, political analyst Joe Heim says the rise of frequent voting laws is a result of the 2020 election.
In an attempt to solidify elections and make them more secure, make them more trustworthy, one party has passed a series of laws to avoid voter fraud.
Heim says while voting laws may continue to be passed, a majority of Wisconsinites aren't being affected.
Well, Wisconsin was in the top 5 in terms of national voting in the 50 states, and we are still in the top 5.
Instead, voters are continuing to cast their ballots in record-breaking numbers. In the state of Wisconsin, the August primary saw the highest voter turnout in 40 years, a trend that Heim says is expected to continue for this upcoming election.
All right, thanks very much, Dua. That midterm election set for November 8th.